Sorry for that bio being so long. I appreciate you reading all that. That's the Air Force bio. That's the official government stuff there. So none of that stuff matters. I wouldn't be anywhere without the people in this room. You see family. Oh, jeez. Earl Jones back there has dealt with more of my shenanigans than probably anyone in this room. Anybody that knows the tales of Mike Hashman and some of my colleagues in Sunday school back in the day could probably thank you. I know I've thanked you enough, but I appreciate it. The family, Elsa, Luca, Gabriel, Alex, all the nieces and nephews, and cousins, and everybody here. This community is special. This village of Alliance here. You hear Mr. Sauter just mentioned all those coaches and teachers. It brings back so many memories. Each of those people had so much to do with me becoming who I am. Mock trial coach, Pat Jones, and wrestling. There's a common theme here tonight with the wrestling, apparently, so I'm going to talk about some of that here now, too. So, I want to thank the Alliance Public Schools Foundation for such a tremendous honor. I am very humbled. I've done all kinds of crazy things. I call it maybe some more constructive ADD, but I just can't stand still, and I have to do lots of stuff. And at 45, I can't change that, so that's just who I am. This honor is shared by this entire community. This village we call Alliance, Nebraska. Out here in the sandhills of what was once referred to as the Great American Desert, lies a village of incredibly hardworking and honest Americans that embody everything that is good about this country. Alliance is known more aptly now as an oasis in the sandhills. They have a sign when you drive into town, right? In the late 1800s, this community plowed the fields on homesteaded plots to feed a growing nation. It trained the glider pilots of our greatest generation that landed heroes that freed Europe from Nazi Germany on June 6, 1944. And it continues to churn out leaders in education, agriculture, and healthcare. It provides the backbone of labor force to one of America's oldest and most storied industries, the railroads. In a state steeped with history, Alliance is renowned worldwide for not only car hit, but for its record number of sunny days. A few years ago in 2017, it was one of the most popular places on Earth to watch the solar eclipse. All these years I've spent traveling the world seeking adventure in awe at the beauty of nature. And on that day in 2017, right here in my hometown, we hosted Harrison Ford, Johnny Depp, and Snoop Dogg. I missed it. I wasn't here. I moved to Alliance when I was 6 years old. This small rural community provided me an excellent springboard from which to launch my curiosity about the world. Having served in combat halfway around the world, I don't take that luxury of growing up in a safe, protected environment for granted. I've carried children off of war-torn streets. I've airlifted them in helicopters as they're fighting for their lives. I've watched the life drain from their faces. There's nothing wrong with growing up in a safe, slow-paced childhood here in western Nebraska. When I was younger, I dreamed about what children did around the world in their hometowns. I thought that whatever they were doing must be more exciting. But after living in multiple countries and a few decades passing by, I've realized that regardless of where you grow up, the fundamentals never change. All a parent wants for their children is safety, education, and opportunity. There is no better place than Nebraska to do just that. Or more simply said, there is no place like Nebraska. Has a nice ring to it. And they play that, the Husker Band plays that on Saturdays around here, right? Memories of childhood sports, wrestling and baseball laid the foundations for learning life skills of accountability and teamwork. Surprisingly, weighing in at 112 and 119 pounds as a freshman and sophomore, it wasn't going to lead to much of a survivable football career. Coach Cullen, Coach Dobson, and later Coach Hall were very instrumental. There is no better way to learn accountability than being one-on-one on a wrestling mat. You either won or you didn't. If you lost, you either didn't work hard enough or they were better than you. Plain and simple, no excuses. My constant striving for perfection is a trait that I'm going to credit to my father and to Dick Rishley. They are both known for their legendary tail end chewings, and I received quite a few for both. We were one of the best high school marching bands in the country, so you can't argue with those results. My father's expectations for perfection were more centered around character, and for that I'm very thankful. The insistence of my parents on exhibiting integrity, honesty, and blue-collar hard work have made me who I am today. If I even think about bending a rule or cutting a corner, I can hear my father's voice in my ear. Those character traits have helped me develop as a leader, and now a commander for the men and women who fight for this country. To my entire family, from siblings to grandparents, aunts and uncles, and all the extended family in between, thank you for helping me along the way. You don't realize how important every interaction is until you're staring death in the face on a helicopter halfway around the world. It's been a true blessing seeing the lives that everyone has created. I have so many nieces, nephews, and cousins to be proud of, and it's really fun watching all of you grow up. To all my teachers over the years here at Alliance, I would love to thank each of you individually, but I would not have enough time today to do that properly. I've reached out to many of you personally through the years, and if I haven't gotten to you yet, I will. Some of my prior teachers are not with us any longer. I'm sure they're smiling down and recounting some great stories of my foolishness in my younger years. I want each of you to know how big a part you played in my development, developing me as a leader, developing my confidence. For the young men and women roaming the halls of Alliance High School today, I want you to know that being raised in this rural town has its advantages. You'll find that employers around the world recognize the work ethic and the values taught in the homes here in the American Midwest. We think outside the box and we solve problems. I know my friends and I had many a great debate on the ills of the world as we cruised the Butte in my 1976 yellow Ford Pinto. I'm sure that pastime on the Butte has not changed. As Nebraskans, we have grit and determination, and we step up when called upon when our nation needs us. Alliance has a very storied history of military service. Let me see how many veterans we have here today. You guys stand and be recognized, please. I know we've got some veterans. There we go. And I didn't know how many people are going to be here. Do we have any Vietnam era veterans? All right, absolutely. Thank you, sir. I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I always make a point to thank my Vietnam service men and women. As a child born in the 70s, I've lived in the shadows of the Vietnam War my entire life, and just that, I'm a huge history buff. And what the nation was going through at that time, you guys just did not get treated fairly. I just wanted to know that I served because of you, and I've always looked up to Vietnam veterans, so thank you. To our current students at Alliance Public Schools, you are the future leaders of Nebraska, the future leaders for this country. Looking at you guys. And chances are, one of you is going to do something extraordinary that makes this world a better place. There are countless famous Nebraskans from small towns just like ours. Andrew Jackson Higgins was born in Columbus, Nebraska. He designed the landing boats that crashed the shores of Normandy on D-Day. General Eisenhower, later president, commented that Higgins and his boats had as much to do as anyone with winning World War II. I sat in the very classrooms that you guys sit in now, daydreaming about what the world would have in store for me. I read as much as I could, I studied hard, and I took advantage of every opportunity. Education is the great equalizer. You get out of it what you put in. The world can be a very cruel place, and the first thing you must learn is that the world owes you nothing. If you want something, you have to earn it. The world doesn't care who your parents are, how much money you have. It doesn't care what kind of car you drive and what you do for a living. It took me carrying body bags off battlefields in Iraq and some near-death experiences to learn that. The only thing that matters is your personal integrity and your sheer will to make a difference in the lives around you. I have a leadership ethos. This is my own personal motto. Be the weight behind the spear. To understand what that means, you have to understand what is at the front of the spear, the tip of the spear. In the military, we have a term commonly used to refer to our special operators, the special operation teams. That's the tip of the spear. That tip refers to the sharp and deadly special operation teams that rain down justice on those that wish ill will against our nation. Those teams of Navy SEALs, Green Beret, and combat controllers pararescue carry out incredibly dangerous missions all around the world. I've been very fortunate in my military career. While assigned to the 304th Rescue Squadron, I was blessed to be a flight surgeon and medical director for these individuals. They perform daring rescues via land, air, and sea, and in combat situations, they rescue downed aviators. Some of them serve on Tier 1 teams. When you guys hear Tier 1, you probably recognize it more now as Delta, SEAL Team 6. I served as the medical director for some of these patriots, these real-life superheroes. Now, one of the members on my team in Portland had taken part in the Darien cave rescue in Thailand in the summer of 2018. If you remember, there was a Thai boys soccer team that was trapped in a cave system during the monsoon rainy season. There was little hope for survival, and the caves were rapidly flooding. You call one group of individuals in the world, and this is the type of people that they call. They would all drown, this entire team, within days. The international team of divers, along with the Air Force PJs, braved incredible odds to successfully rescue those boys and their coach, but not without losing one of their own divers. There isn't a single Special Forces operator that got to that point in their career without the weight of America's spear behind them. The parents, the teachers, the friends, the spouses, all of them provided strength, support, and the power behind that tip of the spear. Everybody in this community has a part to play. You give these people their confidence. Most of these guys came from small towns across the Midwest in America, just like I did. That's what makes America's military the most effective fighting force on the planet. Everybody in this room represents the best asset that sets this country apart and provides building blocks for our national security. It's always about the people, our communities, our families that nurture, teach, and support and love the men and women in uniform. Now back to our current students here in Alliance. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to be the weight behind the next generation of America's heroes. Nebraska needs you. The world needs you. You have a secret weapon. It's called the confidence of youth. You're not afraid to take on tasks that have never been done before. You don't have to wash away prior experiences to build a culture of success. You will be the ones who carry America's torch forward. I know I've said it before, but I've been very blessed in my career since leaving here at Alliance. I went to college right here in western Nebraska, Shaggy State College. I went to medical school at UNMC in Omaha. And from there, my adventures had carried me from battlefields in Iraq to a lush land of fern and kiwis in New Zealand. I've seen great white shark tear surfers in half, I put that photo out there if any of you guys want to check that out. It's my favorite clinical photo about 21 years of medicine. So go check it out, please. It's a fun one. I'll tell you the story, too. I've taught healthcare policy with Helen Clark. And just recently, I've helped build the aeromedical evacuation program for the Rwandan Defense Forces in Central Africa. The kid from Alliance, Nebraska, right here. The contributions I've made and the people I've met have exceeded all my dreams I had as a student in Alliance. Now, as commander of an aeromedical staging squadron in Washington, D.C., it's my job to train, equip, and mold our men and women in uniform into warfighters that are ready to challenge aggressor nations bent on displacing America as a world superpower. None of my successes would be possible without the family, friends, teachers in this community. And just like our special operators, I have my team of teachers, coaches, volunteers, and family that provided the weight behind my spirit. So thank you. It is an honor and my distinct privilege to be a part of the Alliance Public Schools Foundation Wall of Fame. May God continue to bless our community and for our current students. I can't wait to see what amazing things you will accomplish. I'm going to be watching. Thank you.